Hey everyone, Italo here from Nomad Farm, and it's a pleasure to be sharing the space with Hannah once more. So, before anything, Hannah, I wanted to bring this topic that nowadays is very used everywhere, that is energy. So, for you, what would be energy? Is it something mystical, philosophical, psychological? How do you explain that, Hannah?
First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity and hi to everyone. It's also always very nice to connect and to be with Nomad Farm, even online. Well, energy for me is like the lived experience. So more than beliefs or philosophies or like spirituality, energy is what we are experiencing in our bodies. So if we think of emotions as part of the energy, and anxiety, for example, could be activation in the body. Exhaustion would come as depletion, and inspiration could come as expansion. So this is energy. Either if you believe in energy or not, you feel it, you experience this. In my work, I say energy as electricity. That is guided by the mind, more the awareness than the mind itself. So where the attention goes, the energy flows. So we don't need to believe in anything mystical. We just need to observe our own experience. If we are putting too much our awareness outside, the energy will be there. The energy will be disconnected to our bodies. If we are bringing the awareness and the attention to our bodies, the energy will be here with us.
All right, Hannah. One of the things that resonates a lot with me that you brought is that our energy, where the attention goes, the energy flows, something like this, right? Taking the opportunity of this, what do you think that people's attention are? Do you feel that they're disconnected from the body more than ever?
Yeah, definitely. I think that many people live in constant stimulation. So we consume much more than we integrate information, food, conversations, stress. And when we experience, we don't have time enough to integrate and we kind of feel numb. So the issue isn't that people feel too much, it's they actually are feeling less. And we are overwhelmed with so many things happening around. So this creates the lack of awareness in the body, the disconnection, and not only with the body, like nature, relationships, people, because we are addicted to dopamine, addicted to stimulation, and the world is kind of fake nowadays, so we are totally disconnected from our natural cycles.
It makes me think of a Linkin Park song that it's numb. And what you say about feeling less makes me think of something like this, and makes me curious to expand on that. What do you think that this repressed energy, generates?
I think like numbness is the opposite of repressed energy, right? So because
Okay.
repressed energy, it's a lot of energy inside the body that's not being integrated. And then this creates tension. So it's like an explosion. You are putting too much inside, and this body is like getting more and more tense and anxious. This creates compulsive behavior, chronic fatigue, physical symptoms. And the numbness, it comes when you are stimulating your body so much that at some point you cut the circuit. Like if you think of your skin, if you touch too much, at some point your body will protect itself in order to not feel anymore. So we are getting numb in order of this amount, like this extreme amount of stimulation that we are receiving. So I would say that repressed energy will never go away. The energy won't disappear. Will be stuck in your body always. And at some point you have to deal with it, either with pain or like with exhaustion, burnout. Does it make sense?
And yes, it does. And I'm curious to understand what you think, because I think that the energy stays in our body, What do you think it happens if we live too much in the head, for example?
Uh, when we over-identify with our thoughts, we lose the connection with the signals that the body sends. So the mind has the function of create narratives, while the body has the function of giving feedback. So if the mind is creating this narrative and the body is giving feedback, but we are not listening to this feedback, we lose all the information that's being created, and that creates tension, fatigue, burnout. Same thing that I said before. So living too much in the head, and when we are thinking on that, when we are living in our heads, we are actually living outside of our bodies, because we are thinking of our problems, of our relationships, of all the work or the outside world, and this disconnects too much from the body.
Right. So everything is connected, really. And would you say that you mentioned a bit earlier the topic of anxiety? Would you say that anxiety is energy that doesn't find a way out or a channel to?
Sometimes yes. I think anxiety is very complex, and we don't want to oversimplify mental health. The idea is always to regulate the nervous system and find a way of mobilizing the energy that we create. So yes, anxiety can be a lot of energy unprocessed inside our system, but it's not only this, right? So it's very complex. But one of the ways is regulating and finding and channeling this energy and creating a new relationship with this energy, with this anxiety, understanding, bringing attention, I would say.
Right. I love takeaways, Hannah. So to close this energetic topic, I have one big takeaway for me, that is, where you focus your attention, the energy follows. You mentioned something about energy repressed in the body, it never goes away. Is that right?
Yeah.
And what else? What else would you give as a key takeaway of this energy topic?
I don't know. I would say, I didn't say this exactly, but I would say like being present, being aware of everything that we do, everything that we think. Try to not lose yourself in the process of thinking too much and consuming too much.
All right. And I would love to enter another topic that is also super connected to the retreat we are hosting together in April, which is Kundalini and activations. So, what is Kundalini, Hannah? What is it?
Kundalini is very polarizing topic. For me, in a very easy way to explain, I would say it's a metaphor for human potential. So by the books, Tantra would explain Kundalini as this dormant energy that is in the base of the spine. And when it awakens, it activates every chakra until it comes to the top of the head and the person gets enlightened. So it's like nirvana when the process is completed, like enlightenment. But in a easy way and not so mystical to explain, it is expanding the perception, the vitality, the creativity, the life force inside in all the systems that we have. So in the process of activating the Kundalini, practicing Kundalini yoga, you are activating the systems that regulate your life. So you are going to feel benefits in your sleeping pattern, in your digestion, in your emotions, in your disposition levels of energy. So it's like finding your better potential as a whole human being in every layer, in every area of your life.
Okay, and something that I hear about it and often can be misunderstood by people is that it can be something dangerous. Is it anything dangerous about awakening or activating your Kundalini?
Well, I always like to give this example. Imagine that you are going to clean your house in a very deep cleaning. What do? You start like moving stuff. So you move the furniture, you take everything out of their place, you take up like this plastic bag and put all the trash in the middle of the room. If someone arrives in exactly this moment, they will think that you are making a mess. You are not cleaning because everything is like disorganized. So the process of cleaning the room, the house, or your body and your emotions, the first step is to making a mess. And like powerful processes like awakening the Kundalini require preparation. So if you are not ready to deal with the mess, to talk with the elephant in the room, to see your shadows, this is dangerous because you can lose your mind, you can get anxious. So it is dangerous in a way that you need a proper guidance to practice this type of practice to connect with this energy, and you need to ground yourself first. You need to create more strength and stability before you expand this energy. Otherwise, because the Kundalini process most of the time brings catharsis. So when you access memories or emotions that you are not ready to deal with, you can like kind of mess your being. So that's why it's important to not rush anything, to trust the person that is guiding you in the process, and to bring all the time meditation, relaxation, and to have time to deal with this.
Okay, so no shortcuts here, it's step-by-step
No, never.
guidance, right? And talking about shortcuts, because it's so common to see, we wanting to rush things in life. What do you see from the people that you usually interact with and the retreats you make? What is the most common mistake that people usually make wanting to speed this process?
I would say it's chasing intensity over stability, and also this idea of chasing enlightenment. Like, I want to be the guru, I want to be the master, I want to chase all these things that the books are saying, instead of preparing the body, instead of grounding. And I say in my own experience, I did the same. I tried everything. I tried all the practices. I tried all the most intense rituals, ceremonies, teachers, gurus. And I saw in my body how anxiety was following me all the time. How I was feeling lost in many parts of the process. And I think because of what we talked in the beginning, that people are seeking all the time for more stimulation, in the spiritual process is the same. People want more stimulation, want more intensity, want to feel everything in one session. And this is the problem. This is the danger, or this is what is going to make people feel even more anxious, even more lost, even more disconnected.
Okay, I see the pattern here. And connecting to this topic of Kundalini, we enter an even taboo sometimes kind of topic, that is Tantra, sexuality, ethics. So I'm very curious, what is Tantra, Hannah? And although we at Nomad Farm, we tend to use the positive on things, because then we understand the power of words and we want to attract the things that we really want in life. But here, I think there's an educational proposal, that is what it's not Tantra as well. So what it is and what is not Tantra.
Well, Tantra is a philosophy that was created over than 5,000 years ago in India, in a completely different context, where the society was matriarchal. People were nomads, Women, kids, elder people were respected, and they were living without taboos and without disrespect, without the sense of hierarchy. Hierarchy. That's a very hard word for me. And so when you have a different context and you have practices that are so intense working with the sexual energy, and then you bring 5,000 years after in a society that is patriarchal, where is overstimulated, where has pornography as the base of sexuality, the same practices bring different results. So it's nowadays we see that the tantra is only sex, and at the same time other people saying that tantra is not sex at all. And both of them, in my point of view, are wrong, because tantra, it is sexuality, but of course it's not pornography. Tantra is a path of awareness, integration, respect, and that can be practiced and used in every area of our lives. And that includes sex, relationship, includes yoga, includes spirituality, worship of gods and goddesses. It's a way and a path of teaching ourselves to inhabit the body fully and consciously. So for sure, tantra is not violence, is not abuse, is not sexuality without integration, without respect. It's not rushed. Tantra doesn't rush anything. It's not performance. It's not manipulation. And it's not an excuse to bypass consent and boundaries.
Very important topics, and especially getting this last thing you mentioned about boundaries and consent. It makes me think about spaces and environments. So what would be for you, how can we differentiate a more ethic space than a more manipulative space? Because we're products of the environment most of the times. And yeah, what do you think about different spaces and how this contribute?
Well, I would say that an ethical space increases your autonomy. So there is transparency all the time, consent, as I said before, no pressure, and no authority, no submission. And a space that makes you feel smaller, confused, dependent, or like afraid of what is going on, it's a huge red flag, for sure.
All right. Okay. Easy. I mean, easy to understand.
Yeah. It's easy to understand and hard when you are in the place, in a space, because tantra is very... People don't understand tantra yet, so when they start to practice or start to look for places where they can practice or do therapies, massages, or many different types of tantra practices, they don't know what to expect. So the responsibility comes from the teacher, from the therapist, from the space that is holding the practice, to explain everything, to give all the information and make sure that that client or that student will have a complete understanding of what is going to happen. So if you are entering a space or a place where you feel confused, where you feel not sure about what is coming next, don't go, because you are not that, you don't have to be there in the first place knowing everything. It's the responsibility of the person who is going to guide you, to explain and make sure that you understood.
And talking about understanding, why do you think that the sexual energy is so miscomprehended?
Well, sexual energy is life force. So I would say, is the most powerful thing that we have in our bodies. But lately has been shaped by shame, repression, commercialization, and not only by the church, but by even science, everything seems to be against the sense of sexuality as being something sacred. Religion, philosophy, patriarchy. And when it's disconnected from awareness, it becomes either suppressed or compulsive. So again, we bring this word awareness, how important it is. The misunderstanding comes from extremes. So people are repressing or overexposing instead of integrating, instead of opening the conversation about sexuality. We grow up without having opportunity to understand what sexuality is. We don't talk about sex with our parents. We don't have a school that properly teaches what to do. We learn with friends or in relationships, and mostly with porn. And so we don't have good sources of sexuality. And I would say that Tantra is doing a great job on teaching people new ways of sexuality, but still going slow because we still see people that are not explaining very well and are not bringing the awareness factor or like the presence or the safety of sexuality.
I see. And this makes me think of something talking about religion and also awareness. Desire is something very criticized and repressed also in society, either because of how we organize ourselves that in a relationship or as a society. So for you, what happens when, you know, there's this huge repressing of desires?
I think we are witnessing what is happening with repressed desires almost every day. Of course, that any desire disappear. So if you are repressing desires, thinking that one day the desire won't exist anymore, you are wrong. You are telling yourself a lie. Repressed desire will bring frustration, resentment, a lot of judgment, or compulsive behavior. Desire, I'm not saying that every desire should be fulfilled, because some people have violent desires, but every desire should be acknowledged and integrated, reflected. Instead of silencing, think of it, reflect, try other ways of releasing and like all other types of outlets for this desire. Talk to people, you know. And the problem is that because of all the taboo that the society created, we are full of shame of our desires. We don't know what is right, what is wrong, what we can do, what we can't. We don't have many safe spaces to talk about different desires that are far from the pattern that the society said it was like the normal way of desiring.
Right. Not necessarily connecting now, but in our first retreat in Colombia, we had a good part of the group was girls, women, and we received a bunch of questions as well when we brought up this topic in social media. And the next block of conversations is about women and the body. So I wanted to ask you, like, what society taught us wrong about women, about the feminine?
Society made us believe that the woman body is weak, dramatic, and unreliable. Like, I like to bring this example, like the Inquisition. So what did you learn about the Inquisition? Probably that the witches were burned. And who were those witches? Were they like evil women committing crimes with magic? No, of course not. We have no evidence of this. The evidence that we have is that those women were independent. They had strong voice. They were healers. They were midwives. They were very connected to nature. They knew how to use plant as medicines. They had multiple partners, so they were orgasmic. They liked sex. They didn't want to get married. And then around 50,000 women were burned because they were just free and exploring their potential. So we had this whole society built on shame for those women, on like violence, trying to dominate any woman that wants to speak for themselves. And the rest of the women feel weak or dramatic or misunderstood. And of course, all of these teachings are wrong. We know that women are strong, women are connected, women have a very strong intuition. And I think now the world is kind of awakening for this topic, and we are creating more opportunity for women to connect with their potential, their strength, but there's still so much to do in this topic. And
All right. I love this topic of intuition because it reminds me of a sixth sense, no? And I believe it's an innate capacity that we have. But apparently, there has been um, relates of a lot of women that feel kind of disconnected or that don't trust their own intuition. Do you think this is a reflex of this, societal, yeah, influence?
yeah, definitely. When your perception is constantly questioned, you begin to question yourself. If you bring your intuition as the reason for a choice or for any behavior in your life, and all the society says that you are crazy, that you don't know what you are talking about, you start to not believing in yourself anymore. So this is like and not only this, we are as a human, not only women, but all the society is too disconnected from nature, and nature is the source of this inspiration, intuition. So if we are disconnected, we don't have the information. If we are talking like all the nature as this intelligence that brings information about everything, about relationships, about bodies, about survivance, and we are disconnected from this, we kind of lose our source, our patterns,
Yes, and connecting a bit with Nomad Farm, or regenerative living immersions, they go through this transformational journey, and they pass through three big disconnections that we realized that the modern society has, and it's disconnection of the self, disconnection of the other, and disconnection of nature. And talking about nature of things, what is the impact that you see of living disconnected to this natural cycle that we may have?
Well, health, I would say, is the first impact, especially for not only for women, but especially for women, because women are cyclic, and the menstruation is connected to the moon phases. So this is the first sign of so many women having menstrual disease, pain in their periods. The hormones are totally messed up, and that creates like lack of productivity, lack of desire, tiredness, confusion, anxiety. And with the nature, for example, if we are not connected to nature, we start making choices in our lives, forgetting the future, forgetting what nature needs, because it's not nature giving us all the time, nourishing us. We have the function where we have the responsibility also in giving back. So once this disconnection is the base of our lives, we are not giving anything back. We are just consuming, just taking all the time. And that's why we need projects as Nomad Farm, as agroforest, as permaculture, that it is a way of giving back, or at least trying to do things right, connected again. I would say that working with cycles creates sustainability in every layer. Sustainability of health, sustainability of nature, sustainability of relationships, because it's an act of community. If we don't connect, we cannot live in community, and that's why everybody's living individually, selfish, and so far from what our ancestors used to do in the past, right?
Cycles, very important. Okay, so Hannah, now we are walking towards the end of this talk, and I wanted to wrap things up, and through your perspective, how do you translate this in real life? Everything that we talked about, Tantra, Kundalini, intuition, being connected to your cycle, the feminine, masculine, sacredness of things. How do we put this in real life?
I believe that is believing that the body is a temple. So you should worship your body. Instead of worshiping other authorities, gurus, churches, religion, worship yourself. Not in a selfish way, but listening to this body. When this body is tired, rest. When this body is anxious, breathe. When this body is tense, move. So by listening more to the body than to the mind, you create more space and even more productivity. You need like daily regulation. Nobody needs dramatic experience. So the idea of like bringing the retreat as an opportunity, of course that we will have many practices, intense practices, different things that it's hard to keep practicing every day in daily life, but it's an opportunity to first silence the external world, look at yourself, learn different tools, and maybe bring one practice to your life. It's 5 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of breath work. And we don't need too much. We don't need to read hundreds of books. We don't need to practice hours every day. We just need to listen to our bodies, be gentle to ourselves, and be very connected to our breath. I would say that the breath is the main thing. And of course, without the breath, we are nothing. We just die. But it's not only breathing without being aware of the breath. It's connecting everything.
And I remember we did very interesting breathing practices in the last retreat, so I'm excited for the second edition. And going to, a quick come and go. Can I be successful and spiritual at the same time? Successful,
like
professionally wise? Yes.
Yeah, of course. I believe this 100% that spirituality shouldn't be disconnected with normal life. As soon as we are connecting with our bodies, we are practicing spirituality. So spirituality is not escape from life. It's a deeper participation in it. If we are living our purpose, if we are more like, if we are embracing life, celebrating the small pleasures of life, if we are doing our work, our jobs in a respectful way, with love, with attention, But at the same time, taking care of our bodies, we are practicing spirituality. We don't need to go to a church or to a temple to practice spirituality, because spirit, the soul, is one of the layers of ourselves. It's always, everything is inside.
Okay, Hannah, and following more or less the same lines, how would you say that we can balance being productive with being regulated at the same time? Because I know that the nervous system plays a very important role on this regulation of the body, and yeah, interested to know.
Yeah, it's interesting that most of most of us think that in order to be productive, we need to do too much. We need to work like 15 hours per day, and we don't have to sleep. We can put everything aside and just work. But how can you be productive if you are anxious, if you are about to have a burnout, if you are not eating well, if you are not sleeping well, you know? So regulation increases clarity, decision making, resilience. If you want to be more productive, if you want to materialize all the plans and projects that you have, you need to give yourself the basic. You need to sleep well, you need to eat well, you need to exercise, and you need to find moments of silence during your day. Otherwise, your mind is going to be so stimulated that in like 1, 2, 5 years, you have a burnout and you get sick. And all the productivity that you had in the past will just go away. Everything is going to the trash because you are not regulating, you cannot sustain. So it's much more productive to sustain years and years of health work than 1 or 2 years of stress and doing a way more than you should.
Right. One thing that it makes me connect is that, and you also mentioned this before about some sort of taking the role of a guru, and that this for me reminds me of the word performative. And the next question that we got is how can I know that I'm seeking expansion and not escapism? Connecting to sometimes we can see people that started on the spiritual journey and now, yes, they're almost blinded by their own experience. So how do people understand if what is expansion and escapism?
So escapism avoids reality, right? So you remember what I said a few questions before, that people are seeking too much enlightenment. So if you think, let's imagine like the chakras, like the spine with the chakras. Enlightenment would be the energy in like the higher chakras in the mind. If you are somewhere here in the base and you want to just enlighten, or you are like escaping from the reality, you are going high, and you live in this layer, this level of too much enlightenment, but without base, without presence. This is not expansion. You are just raising the energy. Raising the energy doesn't mean expansion. But if you are here and you want to expand the energy, you want to grow the energy in both ways, in all the ways. You don't want just to enlighten and stay here, seeing the light, connected with the universe, seeing gods and goddesses. This is very nice, amazing. But in order to expand, you need to ground the energy. You need to expand your body. So you need to live in the reality. So expansion increases responsibility. So it's not that I'm so subtle, I'm so enlightened that I cannot live with you. You are too dense. You are too gross. You are too heavy for me. I cannot live in this house or have this relationship anymore or have this work anymore because I'm too enlightened. Sometimes it happens that you are changing your frequency and you are not matching with some behaviors or some lifestyles anymore. But that doesn't mean that you are going to avoid everything, that you are not going to places that other people are going. You need to expand your energy in a way that now you embrace better what is different from you. Maybe you don't make those choices anymore, but you are still grounded, you are still stable, and you are kind of loving and understanding even more what is different from you, what doesn't match with your energy anymore. If your spirituality makes you more grounded, accountable, and present, it's expansion, I would say.
All right. And coming now to Root Rise, this retreat we're co-creating together, and it was so nice the first time we did. I loved when we were also connecting food with the chakra colors and vice versa. So yeah, I was wondering also because I imagine that people also do one-on-ones or more individual practices in terms of Kundalini and Tantra. But what do you think it's the strength of this work, or yeah, the impact of doing this collectively in a with a group in an immersion like that?
Well, I love groups. I'm a huge fan of group sessions because I see that all the energy that's being activated and created expands, because it's like everybody is connecting to each other, bonding to each other, and instead of one energy, we have 10, 20 people like expanding, connecting in a beautiful way. So first you have the opportunity of meeting people with common interests in the same frequency that you are, in the same phase of life that you are. So that is a very nice opportunity in life. Most of the time we don't meet people that have the same interests or that are living the same phase of life when we are working in our daily life. And retreats always bring this opportunity. And the energy work, especially when it's in a safe space close to nature, is so beautiful because people feel seen and supported, and the nervous system co-regulates in a very easily way. Sometimes I don't even have to do anything. I'm just holding the space. People are activating each other.
All right. And basically to close, what can people expect from this next immersion? Tell us.
A very embodied experience. They can expect the opportunity of coming back to themselves in a safe and grounded space. We won't be asking for performance, no forced intensity. We will respect boundaries, and we will give many opportunities of people experiencing new ways of dealing with their bodies, feeling new sensations, accessing memories, accessing emotions without rush, without force. It's going to be a space to regulate, to reconnect, to expand in a very sustainable way, because nature will be there. We will talk about farm, some opportunities. We will talk about energy in a spiritual way, in a very grounded way, in a very physical way. We will have Ayurvedic meals. So it's an opportunity to live the tantric experience, not in like this subtle or mystical philosophical way, but in the daily life. Of course,
embodied.
Yeah, embodying the tantra. Of course, that the retreat is different from the daily life, as I said before, it's hard to bring the retreat experience to the future in a way of practicing everything for the rest of the life again and again. But people will learn so many tools and simple ones that are possible to recreate. And I remember the reviews from the last retreat that uh, most of the people said that they learned how to meditate and how to bring this habit to life. And for me, this is the most important. Of course, that we want to create very nice experience. We want them to connect with their emotions, to feel that something changed inside. But the most important for me is to giving them one single tool that they can keep it for life.
All right. Hannah, I can only thank you for your time and for all your amazing answers. We're very excited for this retreat that it starts in March 29th. And yes, would you like to conclude with any words for the audience?
Yeah, sure. I thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very excited, looking forward to coming to Nomad Farm, especially in Brazil. So the last retreat was in Colombia, and it's an honor to do the retreat in our home, right? Italo in Brazil, very special for us. And I'm super happy, and I will bring all the tools that I have, the new tools. I was in India before coming back to Brazil, learned and studying even more. So I'll have different practices, different ceremonies, different sessions, and I'm sure that everyone will have a beautiful and amazing experience.
Okay, Hannah, just really that pops out in my head now. Who would you say this retreat is for?
It's for anyone that's look for more presence and silence in their lives.
I like that. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see each other soon.
See you. Thank you.